Hello everyone and welcome to another amazing episode of the Tree of Geek, Season 2, Episode 14, Christmas in July, Part 1, Lethal Weapon. Part 2 will be Die Hard, but that's not today. Today's Lethal Weapon. Josh, how are we doing today?
I am doing fantastic, but let me ask you, why do you feel that Lethal Weapon falls under Christmas in July?
Well, first off, it's a Christmas movie.
Is it though?
And there's always great, yes, there is. Christmas in July, you know, Emily was asking me, why are you doing this Christmas in July? Why don't you just do it at Christmas? Well, listen, whenever you're on the TV back in the day when commercials actually mattered and you couldn't just like fast forward or mute them, there was always like big mattress sales. You know, it was like some big event. You know, Christmas is awesome, but how about now? It's a celebration, okay? A celebration. You and I were throwing the pigskin back and forth. We were knocking the hockey puck back and forth. Like, we're both going on vacation soon. We're like, what can we do? Double episode. And we were just bullshitting about movies that we liked or haven't seen in a while. These two movies came up, these two series, and we're like, what, dude? We got to do Lethal Weapon and Die Hard. Now, is it 100% geek? Yes, it is. Because who doesn't love these movies?
Because we say it is.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Your hosts say these are geeky movies, and they are. I love Star Wars, I love Star Trek, and I love me some Lethal Weapon. And of course, Die Hard as well. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about Lethal Weapon, the series, the TV show, the actors, the trivia, the plots, our thoughts, the ratings. We're going to talk about all of it. It's going to be a great show. Because we said so. But before we get to the Lethal Weapons, tell me, Josh, what is new in your world when it comes to geek culture? What do you got going on, man?
Oh, man. So, new in my world, as you know, I'm always on the lookout for new movies, new trailers, stuff like that. And because I also have children, I'm on the lookout for other movies and trailers. Moana 2 recently dropped their first trailer. Apparently, she's older and she's going back out on the water. That's what I got from the trailer. So
I get back in that saddle.
I can guarantee I'm going to be watching that very soon when it comes out.
Did you like the first one?
You know, actually, I did.
Wasn't too bad.
I thought The Rock's performance was like golden. I thought he did fantastic. That being said, you can only watch a Disney or Pixar movie so many times before you're ready to break the TV.
That is true.
I can't tell you how many times we've watched Elemental, how many times we've watched How to Train Your Dragon, and now they're getting excited because, hey, guess what's coming out? Well, it'll have already been out when this airs, but in a few weeks, Inside Out 2.
Hey, isn't Garfield the #1 movie today?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it is.
You know, you think I'd love to Train Your Dragon movies, but I don't really care much for those. I guess they're doing a live action, and what's his face is doing the dad guy.
Gerard Butler?
Gerard Butler, yeah.
He has to.
Yeah.
I mean, he has to. He was the voice. He made that movie.
Yeah, he's one of the few parts of it I actually like, which is very strange for me. You think I'd really like that, and I don't.
And what was his name? The British comedian. He was on the Drew Carey show. He did, what was his name? Gobber or whatever, the little one-handed, one-footed sidekick.
I haven't seen that movie in probably 15 years. Seen that thing in 15 years.
Well, maybe it's time that we have a movie night. We watch the whole trilogy. Then we'll watch all the cartoon series that they have for it, which I think there's 2 full series. And then we can watch Rescue Riders, which is another series that spun off of them that has nothing to do with...
You know, why don't we just put in Doc McStuffins and Paw Patrol while we're at it?
Do you know how much Paw Patrol I have watched in my life?
Have you seen this Saturday Night Live version with Oscar? The guy did Moon Knight, where he does Paw Patrol.
No.
He's like the mayor of the town, and all these citizens are complaining that the dogs are ruining the city, and that's because they don't have like opposable thumbs and stuff. It's hilarious.
I am going to have to look that up.
She's like, I called 911, and like it was on fire, and they sent out a Dalmatian. What the hell?
I just showed a buddy of mine last night that Beavis and Butthead SNL. Oh, he was losing it. He was. But moving on from cartoons and, you know, talking about how sad my movie life is, there was another trailer. And this one I was so excited to see. And
then be an Oscar winner.
And then I almost gouged my eyes out when it was over. And if you're listening to this, you already know.
Madam Web Part 2.
Nope, the Venom 3 trailer.
I hope she shows up in it.
It would make it better. Seriously, I watched the trailer with high hopes. It ended, and I just... Like, it looks so bad, so just thrown together. I mean, there's a part in the trailer where Venom jumps into a horse and makes a venomized horse to ride.
Talks about if he like how long will it go before he kills it. Depends or
let's find out. Yeah. No.
It's like you haven't seen your mother in like, say, 15 years. You finally get to meet up with her. You go to the McDonald's. She brings you that birthday present. You haven't seen her 15 years. Like, oh my God, this is going to be awesome. We talk about this. And then you open it up and it's like, I don't know, a CD of like Big Willie style or something.
Oh, jeez.
From like way back in the day.
The Wild Wild West soundtrack.
Yeah, you're like, oh, don't worry, it's a DVD CD combo.
No.
Thanks.
Nope, I'm good.
Yeah, that trailer looks like a train wreck and a half. It looks absolutely horrible.
So
it looks worse than it's going to be for the last one.
When the Madam Web trailer came out, I even said on Reddit, I think I said it on here before, that let's hope they don't screw it up. And everybody, like, it was like 2 days after that the trailer dropped. And everybody's like, have you seen the trailer? They already screwed it up. That's how I feel about Venom 3. Was it The Last Dance or whatever? Like,
yeah, the people are already shredding the trailer online.
I mean, I hope. I really do hope.
Prove me wrong.
But
prove me wrong.
And finally, I'm going to pass it over to you for what's doing your geekdom, but I'm going to transition it with a question. Have you seen the new Alien trailer?
I watched the first 15 seconds, then I turned it off. I've already seen screenshots. They're forced on me everywhere. And quite frankly, I just don't want to be spoiled with the things. Like, I want to go into this movie. I already know the basic premise, but I want to be like, oh, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Or, whoa, that looked cool. I don't want it to already be spoiled for me. It's the same as I'm not watching Deadpool trailers and all these other things. Like, I don't want to be trailer spoiled. I don't know if that's a new term or not, but like, I don't want it.
Like how some trailers, you see all the best parts in the trailer.
Yeah, or the entire movie.
Well, then, without giving anything away or giving any real detail.
What I saw was great.
After the 15 seconds is when the trailer, like, picks up real quick. Yeah, without giving anything away, all I'm going to say is it really looks like they're trying to push back towards the horror side of things and less the space adventure like they kind of went to. So
less mythological, more monsters.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's the kind of...
And some of the very brief flashes that you see, I really do think it's going to be intense. So I'm actually very excited for it. I
have a lot of faith in Fede Alvarez.
We were literally in the middle of a work meeting, and I saw the trailer went up. And it was right towards the end. They're, okay, anybody have anything else? I'm like, yes, actually. I said, the new Alien Romulus trailer just went up. I'm going to go watch it. And my boss's boss said, he's like, hey, can you post the link in chat? I'm like, yes, I can.
Yeah,
I said, I'm not a horror fan. Everyone listening knows that I'm not a horror guy. But I've always loved the Alien and the Predator franchises.
They're fantastic. You know, didn't we do a podcast on those? Like a couple podcasts.
We sure did earlier this season. Was it like episode 4, 5, 5, 6, something like that?
I feel like there's some nudging in the back of my brain that tells me to keep going buying on some more leather jackets. I only got 3. I need more.
Yeah, go back and listen. We've got Alien, we got Predator, and we got AVP. Believe it or not, we had a lot to say about that.
We sure did.
These were fun episodes.
They were. I had a great time with them.
So what's new in your world?
Couple things. First off, Star Trek Discovery. Watched the finale the other day. Absolutely fantastic. They may have stumbled a couple of the routines in the middle of their Olympic set. I don't know. I'm not an Olympic watcher, but they stuck the landing at the end. They did, and threw out some references to some other TV shows. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. For all you Star Trek fans out there, for all you fans that think Disco is just junk, I understand why you would feel that way. But this last season, I felt like they actually put like a lot of juice and energy into it, and I think it's worthy of all the other Star Trek shows when it all comes full circle. I really do. I thought it was touching. I thought the action was good. Comedy was good. Just everything that needed to be there was great. I watched Fall Guy. Ryan Gosling. Great movie.
How was that? Really?
It was fun. I didn't know there was a TV show. Like, I was doing some research afterwards, to find out about like some characters and things. And there was a TV show with Lee Majors, the $1 Million Man. I guess it was on for a couple seasons. I had no idea. Maybe a little bit more before my time, or maybe it was one of the 3 channels we didn't get.
Yeah. Who's in that with Ryan Gosling? Is it Emily Blunt?
Emily Blunt, yeah, John Krasinski's wife.
Yes. Okay.
What's his face from The Office?
Jim. Yep.
Jim Bob.
So you recommend it out of 10? What would you give it?
8.
Really? That's solid.
Yeah, it was a solid movie. It's got rewatchability to it.
Humor, action, all of the above.
Well, the Kraven the Hunter dude's in there. Taylor something. And he played the other Flash.
Swift. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Dazzler was in it. Oh shit. No. He was great in it. He plays such a douchebag.
Really?
Oh my god, he's a super douchebag. Like even Jason Momoa shows up for a second. And that's all I'll say about that movie. But yes, go see it. A lot of good action sequence. And for a movie, it's about a stunt guy. Dude, there's shit that blows up and crashes, and it's pretty crazy.
I was reading a few of the non-spoiler reviews because I do want to see it. And a lot of people were saying that apparently it was a very heavy mix of CGI, but like probably 70-80% of it was all practical stunts and effects. Like it was legit stunts.
They made it look good. I can say that. They made every stunt look good.
I'm going to have to see it.
Yeah. You a fan of the Ren Fair at all? You ever go to the Ren Fair?
I haven't in a long time, but yeah, I love that whole like medieval stylings, and I even tried. Actually, you went with me once LARPing.
Yeah, I did.
Which is kind of like
that was the snoring adventure.
Which is like living in a Ren Fair. Yeah, the snoring adventure.
John was snoring off the roof, and
ladies and gentlemen, don't ever share a room with John.
Well, he's got a Darth Vader mask now, so he doesn't.
I don't care. I still.
You don't hear it. There's no snoring at all.
I swear to you, it was like sleeping in the same room with a dragon. Like it was. Loud.
It was crazy.
I thought if I rolled him over, I'd find gold.
Do you have HBO?
No.
No, or Max, or whatever it's called. Well, for those out there that do have HBO or Max or whatever it's called.
I think I do. I think the kids accidentally bought it on Amazon when they were watching something, so I think I actually do have it.
Well, take the time and find a show that just came out. I've only seen one episode as of to this point that's been released called Ren Fair. It's about the Texas Ren Fair, the guy that runs it, and who's going to be the successor. It's like Tiger King with some more cinematic value.
So it's a documentary?
Yeah, it's like a docu-series.
A mockumentary?
Docu-series.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they took some liberties with some of their camera work and effects, but it's entertaining. And even Emily's like, I wouldn't mind continuing watching this. And I was like, well, it looks like there's no more episodes out right now. So I think it's gonna be like 6-parter or something, but
that was it.
It was extremely entertaining.
One episode, season 1, you're done.
Yeah. Apparently there's Ren Fairs in Germany. So I was looking at about the sizes. So the Texas Ren Fair is twice the size of the PA Ren Fair and the Maryland Fair. But the one in Germany is only like 10 acres or something, 9 acres. It's like super small.
Oh, wow.
I think Germany would have a huge one, but like, I guess they just live it.
No, all their money goes into Oktoberfest.
Yeah, that's where it's at. And the Walk-In Festival, the metal festival.
I did see, though, kind of on the same note, I think it was in New Jersey.
Jersey.
I think it was Jersey. There's an old mansion that looks like a castle that you can actually rent a room, and it's like completely designed like Hogwarts. So like you feel like you're wandering around the castle.
Yeah, I've seen this.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, for sure. You want to jump into this, or do you got anything else?
No, I'm tapped out. If that's all you've got, that's new in your world.
You're tapped. Well, we'll just end it here. I mean, you've already rambled on enough, but we can just end it here.
Last time we said this, I played the ending music and everything. Okay.
All right. Well, then let's move on to the subject of this entire podcast. This time, the meat and potatoes, the Lethal Weapon series. So we're going to talk about a lot of things. Now, these movies have been around for a long time, like 1987 is when the first Lethal Weapon came out. So spoilers will be happening. I think part 4 came out when I was like just got out of high school. So if you guys have not seen any of these things and you're like, oh no, I want to go back and watch these, then pause it here. Go find whatever you can get to get your WB movies, because these were WB. I think even one of them has a Looney Tunes theme start at the beginning of it.
And you know what? To cover all bases, this episode will contain spoilers for all of Lethal Weapon and possibly side movies that the actors have been in. We don't know where our rabbit trails will take us, so just a heads up.
Right on.
So just so you know, Braveheart dies.
Freedom! They can take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom. So Lethal Weapon, 1987, directed by Richard Donner, box office of $65 million. My rating, 9 out of 10. IMDb 7.6. Rotten Tomato, 80%. The plot is pretty much about an unstable policeman who's recently lost his wife and is paired with a by-the-book homicide detective to investigate a suicide that leads to an international crime ring. I gotta learn how to read here, people. I printed off my notes today instead of going off the laptop, so I gotta act like I'm back in high school again. We got Mel Gibson playing Martin Riggs, Danny Glover, Roger Murtaugh, Gary Busey is Mr. Joshua, and Mitchell Ryan is General Peter McAllister. Tom Atkins is Michael Hudsacker, Darlene Love is Trish Murtaugh, and Tracy Wolf as Rhiannon Murtaugh. So that is the main cast. A lot of age differences. Apparently, Murtaugh was a lot younger. Everybody was not really playing the right ages here. Rhiannon was supposed to be playing 16. She was like 22.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, and something that I noticed, and it kind of got on my nerves after a while, is Murtaugh kept calling Riggs boy or son or kid. Like, was there that big of a difference?
I don't remember that at all.
Oh yeah, or was it just I'm a veteran, you're my new partner? I don't.
Well, I mean, he's supposed to be the like the veteran, the older, the seasoned guy. I don't remember him ever calling him boy in the entire movie. No?
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
What kind of trivia you got in this? You got any backstage info on this movie? No? I do.
Ooh.
I got a couple things. I will breeze through these.
Does it involve Mel Gibson's hair in this movie?
That glorious hair? No, I don't have anything about his hair.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. I've heard rumors that some, like in some later parts, that it wasn't his real hair, that it was a set piece, but I don't know. I've seen like pictures of him at like, where's that, the Schwarzenegger Stallone, they had the restaurant. It was like the Hollywood something.
Okay.
What do you call that? Do you remember?
The Walk of Stars or whatever?
Yeah, it was like restaurants. They were everywhere. It was like the rock and roll restaurants, but it was called something else.
Hard Rock Cafe?
Yeah, it was like those, but it wasn't that. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But what does matter is there was other people that were supposed to play Riggs here, such as Alec Baldwin, Jeff Bridges, Pierce Brosnan, Robert De Niro, Don Johnson, Michael Keaton, Christopher Reeve, Superman, what? William Hurt, and Bruce Willis were all considered at one point to play Martin Riggs. In fact, the spoof movie, you ever seen Loaded Weapon 1?
No.
Where it's Emilio Estevez. It's like a mockery of Lethal Weapon, and it's actually really hilarious. Like, I definitely recommend you check out that for a classic, like, 90s, 80s type.
Is that like kind of like Hot Shots was?
Yeah, like Hot Shots
Okay.
and Scream, Scary Movie and stuff, yeah. Because I guess Bruce Willis shows up at one point looking for Riggs, and like I haven't seen it in a long time, but some Star Trek references here. Leonard Nimoy was asked to direct this movie at some point, but he was too busy making 3 Men and a Baby. That's right, Leonard Nimoy Spock almost directed Lethal Weapon.
Wow.
But he felt he was not in his depth properly to do an action movie. He's like, nah, I can't do that. So I'm just gonna keep making my little comedies. There's a little mess up there. Did you notice that when they jump off the building with the jumper, there's cuffs, then there's no cuffs, they're holding hands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. It's kind of like the glasses
attention,
thing.
you can very clearly
Top
see
Gun.
it's a stuntman.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
I mean,
there's some things.
It was 87. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I look right past them. Man, I watch so many old horror movies and stuff. Like, I suspend all belief or disbelief, rather. Like, I just, whatever.
well, you kind of have to.
Yeah. If you go to Turkey and want to watch this movie, it's called Hell Weapon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure why in Istanbul you're calling it Hell Weapon. There was original take for when you meet Martin Riggs, where he does not just show up in his camper with his naked white ass hanging out grabbing a beer. Instead, he's in a bar, and he drinks some Jack, wants some more Jack, and the dude's like, I think maybe, and then some dudes start harassing Riggs. He keeps warning him, kind of like Wolverine does. You've lost your money, keep this up, you're gonna lose something else. Yep. Well, they don't let up, and so he lets loose, and then he has to leave the bar. But they thought that was a little bit too dark. I think it's on the extended DVD. Yes.
Imagine if Mel Gibson would have played Wolverine back in the 90s.
Dude, when they were doing casting calls way back in the day in the Wizard magazine, I thought Mel Gibson would have been perfect to play Wolverine because of how crazy he was in this movie. I was like, dude, he could totally do that.
I completely agree. Mel Gibson did a fantastic job in this movie, looking like he was completely off the hinges. I mean, everything from his attitude to how he acted to the look in his eye, or his eyes. He has two. Like, especially during the final fight at the end.
Come on.
100%. Like, he played somebody who just did not care anymore and was, like, on the verge of just snapping. It was very...
He's on the ragged edge.
It was a very good casting choice, in my opinion.
When he goes off, you don't want to be anywhere near him. So when it comes to, like, props, so Riggs uses a Beretta 92F, which is also later used by John McClane in Die Hard with a modified extended magazine. So that's pretty cool that they both used the same weapon there. It had to be changed because Bruce Willis is apparently left-handed. That's why they had to mess with it. And the final thing I hear is it's about method acting. So in the scene where Riggs is supposed to, he's going to try to commit suicide, There's an actual bullet in the chamber, supposedly. So when he's pointing it at his head, he thought there'd be greater sense of suspense if he like knew that it could actually kill him, which is like really dumb.
Like for real.
Yeah, because this is like 7 years before Brandon Lee got killed.
Oh my God.
On set. So I don't know if it's true, but the rumor is there was an actual bullet in that gun. And that scene, man, that scene kills me, man. That is
No, it's heart-wrenching.
So with all those trivia, all the basic info out of the way, give me, what do you love about this movie? What do you not like about this movie? Let's dig into the actual feelings that we have for this movie. Because that's what we're here to talk about. Everybody else can Wikipedia things, but we're here to talk about why we like these movies.
All right, well, I'll just throw this out there right away. Rewatching these movies, I realized I never watched them. I'd never seen Lethal Weapon. I thought I had. I don't remember them at all.
You never even caught like a glimpse on TBS or something?
There was a few quotes that I recognized, but it could have easily just been like sound bites somebody threw in a video or, whatever.
So this was like a fresh watch for you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, it starts out, you see the girl laying on the bed snorting
Amanda Hudsacker.
Whatever. I mean,
somebody put Drano in her pills.
We see, we see some skin. We see her jump. And
she got pushed. Either way.
Well, and I'm like, man, okay, like it's getting pretty dark. Okay, I mean, wow, they start right out with some nudity. Oh, there's Mel Gibson's ass. I mean, it escalated really quickly. And at that exact moment, my boss walked by and said, "What are you watching?" I'm like, yep, thanks. Awesome timing, as always. He actually did that during Die Hard 2, when you see, what's his name doing naked karate in his room.
I got some trivia about that when we get there.
And again, he walked by at that moment. He's like, dude, it's like 3 days in a row. He's like,
that's two dudes, man. Like, what's going on? Like, don't ask, like, it's fine, but like, you're at work, Like,
I'm just like, man, come on.
Yeah, I watched Psycho Cop at work today, and Psycho Cop 2. I'd never seen the first one, and I didn't realize that it was just like strippers in this movie. So like, I have to be very, I'm out in a warehouse, so there's like nobody, I'm not in a cubicle with anybody around, but like, I make sure that I'm ready to like go. And usually I just speed past those scenes anyway. Like, I've seen enough boobs in my life. I don't need to watch horror movie sex scenes. You know what I mean? But yeah, you got to be careful at work. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, thankfully we have our own office, but whenever he gets up from his desk and walks out, he walks by mine and right there's my screen.
And right there's Mel Gibson's ass.
Yeah, it was very pasty white. But yeah, so this was like really my first exposure to this dynamic duo, I guess you could almost call them. And I loved how it wasn't just your classic buddy cop like Chips or, any of the old buddy cop shows or movies. It was just like Murtaugh's by the book approach. Like
family man.
He's your classic, family man, black and white. I mean, that's just who he is. And then you turn around and you have Riggs, who the first time we meet him, after he's naked, he's shooting people in a Christmas tree parking lot. Yeah,
and then there's a scene that on the extended, you said that this wasn't on the one that you watched, and it wasn't on the one that I have on my other DVD either.
Right.
It's where he takes out a school shooter.
Yeah, I did not see that.
Yeah, and the shooter like shoots a couple shots at his feet, and he doesn't even move, stands there by the monkey bars, and he's like, "I'm still here, asshole. You only do kids." Dude comes right back out. He puts like 6 rounds in the dude, and then like just... And
that
was a scene that I felt it should have been completely in, because when he gets transferred, that's like, yeah, he did the thing with the Christmas trees, but he doesn't think really crazy. But the school shooting, like the guy shoots right around him, like he had already shot a cop, holding kids up. Like that part right there was the one that like, okay, you got to get out of here. We're gonna transfer you from dope to
you saying
homicide.
that sounds insanely familiar. So I think I might have seen that clip at one point, but it was not.
Yeah, it's not on
in
all
the version
all the
that I
copies.
watched. Yeah,
it wasn't on TV when I used to watch as a kid either.
Right, but I mean, right off the bat, I get okay. This is dark, and honestly, all I could think right off the bat, as soon as I saw Danny Glover, I immediately was looking for a Predator in the background, like. This version of dark, gritty LA felt exactly like it did in Predator 2.
Well, I won't get into the crazy specifics because there's just too much. But if you take the movie Predator, Predator 2, Die Hard 1 and 2, and this movie, the producers, the directors, the writers, Michael Kamen that does the amazing score, who also did Die Hard. Like, there's so many people that are intertwined in all of those movies, the actors, that there's people that pop in and out of both franchises. Or all 3 franchises, when you come to Predator, Lethal Weapon and Die Hard. Like, it's crazy. Like, I won't even get into it, but everybody's intertwined.
I would love it if it was just somehow they confirmed or even just said, oh, yeah, this is all one big universe. Well, they were doing that. John McClane was over in the tower. Like, just.
Well, see, do you remember the message I sent you, the picture of Die Hard 2? So in Die Hard 2, an old lady's holding the magazine, but the back of the magazine has an ad for Lethal Weapon on it.
Are you
I screenshotted it and sent it to you. I
didn't even catch that. I didn't realize that's what you were sending me. I'm like, okay, you're watching.
I think it's I'm pretty sure for Lethal Weapon 1 or 2.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, well, damn, they're not in the same universe but I mean, who knows? I mean, comic book rules.
No, why not?
Sometimes it doesn't matter.
They made a movie about the events that happened.
Yeah.
In LA.
It was a docuseries.
Yeah, of course.
Cops. Bad boys. Well, do you know, I mean, the chemistry between Riggs and Murtaugh, so we'd already went through all the people that could have been Riggs. And I thought I typed it up here. I don't remember the list of people that could have played Murtaugh, but apparently the first time that they got Riggs or Danny Glover and Mel Gibson in a room together and ran a couple lines, like everybody was sold within the first 15, 20 minutes. So like these two, their chemistry was instantly off the charts, and they're like, there's no other two. Like, it has to be these two. So it was sold on from there. And you can tell, like, there's a natural flow when people are talking to each other in this movie. Like, it's a masterclass in how to make a movie, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic.
I mean, we first see Danny Glover or Murtaugh, he's sitting in a bathtub. We first see Mel Gibson, he's getting out of his bed naked. I mean, there's very big contrast here. Honestly, I didn't really know how it was going to work. I mean, I knew it would work because there's 4 movies, but I didn't know how.
Yeah, there's a lot of series that have 4 movies that probably, like, they should stop making Puppet Master and Subspecies. I'm just saying.
But, like, once they finally got together, I mean, they first meet each other. Murtaugh's tackling Riggs in the police station because he pulls a gun out. Yeah. But then, like, you slowly get into it, and the whole jumper situation, like, you really get to see I didn't do nothing wrong. You see the by the book, and you see the just get it done mentality, and that chemistry, like, they merge so perfectly together. I mean, like you said, I was sold. I mean, it was beautiful. Like, that constant dark humor is completely offset by the banter between them.
It's a perfect balance of comedy. It's not like over the top. It's not zany. It's just a couple one-liners to keep some levity there.
Like, there's no like, there's no blatant jokes. It's something happens, little comment that
like when he gets
miss, or
God hates me. That's what it is. Hate him back. That's what I do. Just little things like that just you chuckle, but then it's like you can tell that those characters are serious. Like, Riggs wasn't trying to make a joke,
which we'll get to.
Serious.
We'll get to it, but I feel like Lethal Weapon 4, they really upped the one-liners. But I mean, we'll get to that then.
Oh, they definitely did. I mean, I think if no matter the specific genre, I think I have to, like, place Lethal Weapon in the top 10 of, like, any movie I've ever seen. Like, I'm talking Lord of the Rings.
You said before it's your favorite movie, right?
For years it was.
Okay.
I mean, it was before I saw, like, The Return of the King and some. I mean, it changes.
It's a whole different genre, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, it's like action, but it's like fantasy action. But when it just like a plain old action movie, Lethal Weapon. And for a long time, my password used to be 3 William 56. I mean, I would type that entire thing out just because I love Lethal Weapon. I've probably seen Lethal Weapon, no shit, probably over 50 times in my life.
Really?
I could put that there's some people put on the comfort movies to fall asleep. I used to do that. I just put that one or X-Men 1.
See,
I put either of them on and just.
I always did that with Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, it's a great movie.
It is a fantastic movie. Oh, I love that movie. I'm saying fantastic a lot tonight.
Well, that it's hard a lot, like, not to. And the score, I talked about it earlier, but the score by Michael Kamen, Eric Clapton, and David Sanborn. I have the soundtrack. I used to have it on CD. I don't know where it went, but I have it downloaded. It's just, and it's one of those things where I can listen to the soundtrack and know exactly what is going on in the movie. I can just watch the movie in my head.
Okay.
There's a lot of times I'm just walking around, like, that saxophone, that guitar, just everything. And Michael Kamen's done a couple things. Like, he's an amazing composer, but there's so many elements of this movie that probably really shouldn't work. If you who read this script and it's I don't know, like shadow company drug dealers from Vietnam. And it's funny because he said, I ran into some of you pussies back in the day, and they're talking about doing Air America. Well, Mel Gibson went on to do the movie Air America. So I thought that was a nice little tidbit there.
That is great.
But it's just, man, I cannot. If this movie's on, I'm sucked in. I don't know where I'm at. I've watched this movie before, and Emily's had to like get me back to like reality for a minute because I tunnel vision. I forget what's going on. I love this movie from beginning to end, top to bottom. It's amazing,
man. I mean, like you're saying about the music, and I know it was 87, which means it was being filmed probably 85, 86. But that music, when you hear it, it's 100% 80s.
Yes.
Like I'm trying to think of an example. Like if you play Grand Theft Auto Vice City, that's supposed to be more in the 80s vibe. Like it has that same feeling. Like
Don Johnson was in the running here.
I mean, like you know exactly what era you're in, what decade. You know exactly what to expect.
Well, this theme here too, like it's not a lot of movies today, and I'm not going to there's like Michael Giacchino or however you say his name, he does a lot of things, he's really great. But a lot of the themes or scores you hear in a movie, like, hey, what is the main score of that movie? And you think you're like, you can't remember half of what's around now. But this theme here, like I know when Riggs' theme is on. If you do like a certain saxophone, I know that has to deal with Murtaugh. You know, then when the really suspenseful stuff, well, that's when he was going to commit suicide, or that's when they just had a break in the case. Like there's themes for each section of the movie for each character, and they don't break that shit down anymore like that much. Yeah. It's just one giant epic score. Yeah, you know, like maybe John Williams is still doing his thing. Like I shout out some credit there, but like Hans Zimmer, he's great. I think a lot of his scores sound extremely similar, you know, and so does John Williams, but it doesn't matter. Great script, great acting, great action, great everything on here. Is there anything about this movie you didn't like? Anything that rubs you the wrong way? Can you think of anything? And just so you know, that it could be a friendship on the line.
Yeah. So first off, I loved that, not even the main villain, I guess, but like the main henchman.
Mr. Joshua.
Freaking Gary Busey. I did not like that his name was Joshua, because it made me feel like they were going to kill me.
Yeah. Well, he says that this resurrected his career. This movie got him back on track.
Seriously?
Yeah, he said he did like Silver Bullet, I think,
yeah,
like a little bit before this, but he said that he was having a lot of issues, and this movie got him back on track.
Well, that's great. It's kind of like Robert Downey Jr. with Iron Man.
I don't know if it was at that level.
Oh, man. But now I'm trying to think of something I didn't like about the movie. I mean, there's a few points where it was a little slow moving, but it's also setting up that relationship vibe between them. Like it's showing.
I don't think there's a lot of extra fat in this movie.
Not really, but I mean, there's just a few, like the dinner scene. I mean,
My name's Martin.
At first I thought like, well, this okay. I mean, they're just introducing him to the family, big deal. Yeah. But then as it went on, I understood more. Riggs doesn't have anybody. This was him being.
He doesn't even have his dog at this point. I don't think.
Basically, being him welcomed into their family to an extent.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, once I realized that, like, it all fell together.
Or there's even like the little parts where they're singing the Christmas song, like the police officers.
Yeah.
Just like when she nudges them, hey, man, stop messing around. You know?
I love how she's using the baton to keep them in order. Like,
well, she shows up 3 movies later too, which is really awesome. And I had to look it up. I was like, I'm pretty sure that was the lady from the very first. So the fact that it's all about family in these movies, and it's, yeah, I can't. I've seen it, like I said, so many times. I don't know if there's any parts where I'm like, oh God, it's this part again. Like even the part where they bring in the guy to talk to Mr. Joshua to find out about the shipment, and he's like, you guys are fucking out there, man. You're like, it's just everything.
Game over.
It's game over, man. He should have been in there, man. Oh my God, it's game over. Dude, he would have been great in one of these movies.
Oh, he would have.
But don't worry, we got him and Danny Glover together in Predator 2.
Yeah,
so it all worked out, man. Everything that's here in this movie works, and it's only there for a certain reason. Like there's not a whole lot of jibber jabber shit that you don't think of. Everything it's said matters about the plot, or like really what's going on.
It pulls together in some way.
Yeah. I could talk about this movie for hours. We can't talk about it for hours. This isn't just on Lethal Weapon 1. This is on the entire series. So I guess I can watch this movie another time. We can move on. I just watched it. For everybody to know, sorry to step on your toes there, but for everybody that knows, we sat down. There's 9 of these movies because we're doing a double episode. We're recording Die Hard after this one. We had to jam pack 9 movies in like 2 weeks with our jobs. You know, I'm getting my bathroom redone. I got a lot of playing D&D. I got a lot of things going on.
And I refuse to do any extra stuff like this until the episode coming up is edited and posted. So I literally squeezed 7 movies into the past 3 days.
It's over 50%, man.
Very fresh in my mind.
Well, they're fresh for me too, even though I've seen them. I've seen both series several times. So.
Well, I can tell you now, in about 2 hours when we start the Die Hard segment, because we're doing them both in one night, people. So if we sound exhausted when you listen to the Die Hard episode, well, it's probably like 2 o'clock in the morning. So bear with us. All right, so before we move on, what is your rating?
9 out of 10.
Did you give that already?
Yep, I gave. Well, yeah, I did. I can wait till the end for the next one, but yeah, it's 9 out of 10.
Dirty bitch.
It's hard to give any movie a 10 out of 10, but this is like a 9.8, 9.9 for me. Like it really, really is.
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
That's okay.
I mean,
8's solid to me. 9 is amazing and 10 is perfect. So,
now, and I'll admit, 80s movies I have a little bit of a hard time getting into. I was never the biggest Mel Gibson fan in general. The more I watched it, I feel like this is a movie that if I caught it on TV, like you said, I would sit and watch it again.
Very rewatchable.
I would totally watch it before I watch Alien 3.
Alien 3. Woo!
Resurrection is still worse.
Yeah. Well, on our thoughts about that, go back and listen to our Predator episodes and our Alien episodes, our AVP episodes, and all those extraterrestrial episodes.
Why not?
Yeah, sure. I mean, they need more views.
All right, so
moving on.
I did have one last thing that I did for the movies.
What do you got?
Confirmed kills on screen. And this isn't like, oh, that bus rolled. I wonder how many people died. No, this is, how many people were in the vehicle or who got shot, whatever. 26 confirmed kills in Lethal Weapon 1.
I have this all written down because I want to know how many people Riggs killed and how many Murtaugh killed.
I don't have that.
Yeah, Riggs does kill less, but he has one less movie. And a lot of the kills in the movie he had to share with other people. So, but it's only by like 15 that he loses to McClane. So,
all right. Well, you ready to move on to Lethal Weapon 2?
Lethal Weapon 2 in 1989, directed by Richard Donner, with a box office of 147 million. That one?
That would be the one. 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb.
I got 7.3 on IMDb.
Maybe I gave it a 7.5.
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes, 82%. But what's the plot of this one? You know the plot of this one?
Sure.
Oh, I can read it.
Okay. Quick overview of this one. Riggs and Murtaugh are back, and this time facing off against a South American diplomat using their immunity to engage in criminal activities.
Diplomatic immunity.
And by criminal activities, it involves gold coins.
Cougarans. It's goddamn Cougaran. Goddamn Cougaran.
The duo uncovers a plot involving drug smuggling and attempts to bring the criminals to justice while protecting their key witness, Leo Getz, played by freaking Joe Pesci.
Okay. So listen, okay. So he based that on some Disney employees. When he went to Disneyland, he was annoyed by people like being up in his grill and saying okay all the time. So he used that to come up with Leo Getz. Leo Getz, get it?
That is great.
Yeah. Martin Riggs is still played by Mel Gibson, Danny Glover by Roger Murtaugh. So what's nice about both of these series is nobody gets recast. Like everybody is who you get. There's a lot of movies that go on and you're like, oh, well, that's not who plays Jimmy. Well,
yeah, like that's a whole different police captain.
Yeah. You already said Joe Pesci. Joss Ackland shows up as Arjun Rudd. He's the main bad guy. Derek O'Connor is Peter Vorstedt. He's the second bad guy. Patsy Kensit from Full Eclipse, the werewolf movie. She plays Rika. Darlene Love plays Trish. We already know Tracy Wolf plays Rianne. Mark Ralston plays Hans. And Steve Kahn plays Captain Murphy. He was also in the first one, just not credited. He goes into the bathroom. He's like, hey, man, leave me alone. I'm going to take a piss, man.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So our movie starts out with a car chase and Murtaugh's wife's brand new station wagon.
Yes.
And I loved it. Just loved it. Because
too close, man. You don't got enough room.
When dispatch is saying, like, you're heading right towards the other car chase happening, you're going to run into each other.
Like, who's on it? Riggs and Murtaugh. Well, who's driving?
Yeah, and then you find they're all taking bets.
Murtaugh's driving. Driving what? Oh, the station wagon. No, I'm taking my money. I didn't know.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't know that.
All bets are off.
Oh, jeez. And then Riggs is driving, and you don't have enough room.
You know what? You're right. I didn't have enough room.
Oh,
go spit, Riggs.
Oh, it was great. It was just great.
I love that Danny Glover in the first one and in this one, he never says go fuck yourself or anything like that. He's like, go spit. Like when he's getting tortured in the first movie, go spit.
I wondered what that was all about. Yeah.
I'm not sure why he chose that, but it makes good flavor for that character specifically. You know, like
wholesome family man. He doesn't want to swear around his kids type of thing. So he gets used to saying other words.
Yes.
And he yells at his daughter for smoking weed. But that was the first movie.
Yeah.
So
In the house.
in the house, yeah. I did like that part though. Like, why can I drink a beer but I can't smoke? And well, because beer's legal and grass is not.
Well, that's
Yet.
wrong, right?
And I love because he's like, yet. And that was in the 80s, and they're still trying to get that to be.
Well, California, I think it's good to go.
Wow.
Yeah, it's California. Fucking California. We're not on that series yet.
No. But we do get to see Riggs and Murtaugh's relationship. They're definitely closer now. We see Riggs just hanging out in the house even when Murtaugh leaves. Yeah, I mean,
the gold pen
kind of falls back to what I was saying about like that dinner scene, how it was showing him being introduced to what would become like a surrogate family almost.
Yeah, and it's brought up in the next movie about like how close he feels to that family. They definitely bring some different dynamics here. They do make it a little bit more comedic, Leo gets. But the action's definitely still there as this goes on. And, you find out more about Riggs's backstory, about what really happened to his wife, how she actually died, and he didn't know. You get to find out Riggs is from a family from Chicago. It's from the Chicago Riggses.
Yep.
You get to find that. A lot of Adolf Hitler jokes in this one.
Yes.
A lot of rubber jokes, condoms.
Did I just call you Adolf?
So in the scene with the condom commercial, when the guy says, she makes me want to go buy rubbers right now, that was ad-libbed. He just had said that, and the fucking crew lost it, so they just kept it in the movie. If
you don't remember the scene, everyone's excited because Murtaugh's daughter's going to be in her first ever TV appearance, the first commercial. She's on the beach, she's running, and it's a condom commercial.
And her boyfriend's there at the time too when they watch it.
Knowing that that's ad-lib makes that scene just so much better, because the way Danny Glover looks at him is like pure hatred, and you can just see Riggs, Mel Gibson's character, laughing. Like, it's just, that's gold.
Well, it's just like he says to...
And he's like, should I leave? Should I leave?
He's like, wait, where were you going? Oh, well, he's dad. She's afraid of daddy, and he goes, yeah. Well, he's got a gun. He goes, yeah, but it's an old gun. He's not a very good shot. It's like, we know Murtaugh's a great shot, but it's like Riggs just doesn't care. Like, he just, he knows where to walk the line with Murtaugh and how far to push. And
that's when I was watching some of these. I'd be laying in bed, my wife's watching something, and I'm watching on my phone or whatever. And I said to her, I'm like, I can't help but wonder how much of these movies, including Die Hard, how much of these movies are just straight up off the cuff improv, and they're just like, I like it, keep it. Because they could get away with a lot more in the 80s. Yeah.
Well, I don't think stuff was still rushed back then, but I think there was a lot more leeway when you're making a movie to where, they didn't just, hey man, you got fucking 30 more minutes and we got to shut this down and yada yada.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it wasn't intense, and I haven't never made a movie, but I feel like they did have more leeway and more runway to do things. They definitely did. And there wasn't as many, like, man, there's so much red tape you got to go through today to get so many things approved for anything at your job.
Just to get an R-rated movie.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, just for Marvel to get Deadpool to be an R-rated movie, like in their official universe through Disney, read up on it. Like, it took a lot of legal, not battles, but like a lot of legality to get them to approve. Just that,
for sure. So yeah, we get to see a bunch more about Riggs's backstory. You get to see him try. This is we knew his wife is dead. Now he meets Rika. They have a fling, and you're like, hey, maybe this could turn into something. And you get to see just Riggs go balls to the walls crazy. Did you know that scene that when he rips down the still house costs over $500,000?
Seriously, like that?
Yeah, it was like super expensive to do that.
So it's one of those one take things. Honestly, I thought it might have been like a model, because you know how they used to make, like what, 1/10 scale models and stuff. So they actually pulled a house down. Wow, they were really banking on this one making money.
Well, the story sort of behind that. So Shane Black, he writes the first movie, and then so he gets a script for part 2, but it gets rejected for being too dark and bloody. And Briggs is supposed to die at the end of part 2, like he just kills him.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
So another script by Jeffrey Boehm is used, which it has more comedy, and Shane Black didn't like it. He said it's too much comedy. I don't like it.
Hey, don't we know that name?
Shane Black?
Yeah.
Iron Man 3, and then Predator. He's the funny dude with the glasses.
Yeah, he didn't have a good run, did he?
No, he didn't. So not much is carried over from the original script, but the still house is. That's still carried over. And Shane Black has even said he doesn't like part 3 or part 4. He says they're too funny, and that's not what it should be. They changed Riggs too much, so he's not a fan of them. But you know what? Shane Black recently did a movie that I didn't care much for either. The Predator. He's the one that does the Predator armor one. He directs that one.
Oh,
yeah, the one with the autistic kid and all that stuff. Yeah, he directed that movie.
Predator,
Guess what?
Killer Armor.
Now listen, Shane Black, I think he is a talented guy, but that movie sucks. Okay, that movie sucks.
Looks like he also did The Nice Guys, The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yeah, which I haven't seen. Robert Downey Jr. is in that one, I do believe, or something
The Last
like that.
Boy Scout.
Which I have seen with Bruce Willis and the Wayans guy. Which is funny because they're together, because Wayans eventually does the Lethal Weapon TV show and plays Murtaugh. But jumping ahead of myself here, despite the film's South African, or the anti-South African stance, it was passed uncut in South Africa. They didn't censor the movie at all, and it was a big financial success in South Africa.
Even though it was making them out to be the villains.
Yeah. There's still times where, like, if Emily is painting and there's plastic on the floor, I'll just think of myself, in that movie. What are you doing? I was like, I just want to see if I'll still stand on plastic.
Jeez.
Sorry, Mr. Rudd, sometimes it happens. Yeah, it's... this one's a banger, too. Like, I don't think it is as good as number one, but if I gave one, like, a 9.9, 9.8, this one's a 9.5 for me. This is still a 9 out of 10. I thought they...
So you like this one better than the first?
No, I like the first one better. I gave the first one like a 9.9, 9.8.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm giving this one like
okay.
a 9.5.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you feel overall? Like, do you enjoy this one better than the first one? Do you think it's a worthy successor?
Yes, but also no. It didn't feel quite as serious as the first one, which in a way was good. I mean, more entertaining, keeps you hooked more. But it didn't feel like the stakes were as high as in the first one. In the first one, it felt like literally anything could happen at any point. That being said, I don't know. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first one, he does get shot with a, with a shotgun. Right? He's
Yeah.
like, I'm dead, Cochise.
Oh.
I'm a corpse. Yeah, like that just came. I was not the first time I saw it. I did not expect Riggs to just get shot like that. I was like, oh shit, did they just kill Riggs already?
If I hadn't known there were
What?
sequels, I would have thought he just got blown away.
Yeah, I saw this movie probably for the first time.
Freaking Gary Busey,
I'm
man.
gonna guess probably like 91 or 92 is probably when I saw this. By the time I was able to get it on VHS or be on TV,
Right.
I had no idea. Yeah, I think when people talk about sequels, that they just don't really live up to the predecessors. But I believe Lethal Weapon does, and I think it's one of the exceptions to the rule. I really do.
What did you think of, I'm not going to pronounce it wrong, but was it Joss Ackland as our big bad?
The guy from the Mighty Ducks.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
What a difference those two characters are. That's a deep cut there. It's the dude from Mighty Ducks. Has Emilio Estevez, it's in Loaded Weapon. I'm just saying, these things are all connected together, man. I'm telling you. I thought he was just dirty, and I wanted to punch him in the face every time I saw him. I feel bad for the fish that got shot.
I mean, yeah, I thought he pulled it off beautifully. He wasn't Hans anymore, but I mean, Hans from the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, there's a different Hans here. But.
Yeah. But I mean, I thought he played the villain. He played the part. It was very well done.
To be a good villain in these type of movies, you need to be cold. You need to be crisp. You need to be smart. You got to have that Bond villainness about him, and he had that Bond villainness about him. Peter McAllister from the first one, he's just a dick from the military, thinks he's better than everybody. He's a drug dealer, whatever.
Yeah.
But this dude here was just like, no, I'm smarter than you, and I can get away with shit, and I can murder you because I can. He just kind of felt that way. Diplomatic immunity. Fantastic. It's kind of like picking who do you love first, your firstborn kid or your secondborn kid. You know what I mean? Because these two movies are so close to me, as far as the quality of how they're made. It's how do you even choose some days?
I don't know. Ask Commissioner Gordon from what was that? The Dark Knight, when Two-Face is making him pick which kid do you want me to kill. Dude, that
both. Just get this over with. Both. Always bluff. See what happens.
I can make more.
Look at this mustache. You think his mustache can only make 2 kids? You know how many kids I can make with this mustache?
Oh, what was his name? Gary
Oldman.
Yes, Gary Oldman. Yes.
Fantastic. He would have been a great villain, one of these. Have you seen The Professional?
Yes.
Yeah, man, was he good in that?
Yes.
Man. Yeah. But let's not go down that side road because, woo!
We should just do an episode on actors that we like, why we like them, and everything that they've been. No, that'd be...
I'd be here all day.
Ugh.
All day. So yeah, overall, I think this movie's maybe not just as good as the first one, but very, very damn close. They are literally like episode 1 and episode 2 of like a TV show. They fit so seamlessly together.
With 34 confirmed deaths.
34 confirmed deaths.
Yep.
So that's just everybody murdering them, right? Just everybody just,
yeah. So 1987, we have Lethal Weapon. 1989, we have Lethal Weapon 2. We jump ahead 3 years to Lethal Weapon 3.
1992. Again, directed by Richard Donner, made about 144 million. IMDb 6.7 is what I got. Rotten Tomatoes 58%. So the scores aren't as good. You got Riggs and Murtaugh. They need to track down a crooked cop who steals weapons from the LA Police Department, sells them on the streets.
Played by Stuart Wilson.
Stuart Wilson, is he the bad guy?
The dealer, yeah.
Yeah, Jack Travis.
Yep.
Mr. Jack Travis. Yeah, we got Mel Gibson, Danny Glover back, Joe Pesci. But then we get Renee Russo shows up. She plays Lorna Cole, not to be confused with Sergeant Cole from Traffic. That's her dad. We get the Captain Murphy's back, and a lot of other people, that aren't super important. But yeah, Jack Travis is the bad guy. The original script this had Riggs sleep with Rianne, apparently, at some point.
Oh.
And I guess some of that kind of carried over, which is why there's so many jokes back and forth, why Murtaugh sort of thinks, are you fucking my daughter? Is that happening? Yeah. Carrie Fisher is uncredited as a script doctor, which I looked up. So it's somebody that sticks around as the movie's being made, and it helps enhance the dialogue and other parts.
Like to make it flow more smoothly?
Yeah. So Carrie Fisher.
Really?
Yeah. Uncredited. I mean,
Princess Leia
now
herself.
listen, I get all this info from the internet, so if the internet's wrong,
hey, we've talked about this before. Wiki is always right.
Always. Russo received martial arts training for a month before shooting with Cheryl Wheeler Dixon, who had a karate background and was a former kickboxing champion. And she also was her stunt double. Brazilian jiu-jitsu instructor Rorian Gracie of the famous Gracie clan. If you remember UFC 1, there was a Gracie in there. They taught Gibson and Gary Busey in the first movie. So he provided training to Russo and acted as a stuntman for some of the scenes. So they really took the time, like, hey man, let's get some of this fighting sort of looking like it would really sort of happen. I don't know how high you can really kick in some of those tight jeans. I was always curious, like in the first movie with Briggs in those tight jeans and those cowboy boots, like how is he
without ripping the crotch right out? Yeah.
Murtaugh's boat is called the Code 7. You know what that's for?
No.
It's the LAPD code for lunch break.
That's great.
Yeah. In the film's first scene, Riggs accidentally sets off a bomb and destroys the building. So there was a former city hall building that was supposed to be tore down. So they're like, hey, you can go ahead and use this. But there's a guy that walks up at the end when they're holding the cat and he's clapping. He goes, yeah, hey, good job. That guy there was the mayor of Orlando, Florida.
Really? So they put him in for a cameo?
Yes. Yeah, he claps and says bravo.
Very nice.
So I guess that was a kind of a tit for tat, we'll let you do this, let me be in the movie.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. The film's climax scene where they're in the housing development, shit's getting torn down. Apparently that was a development that fell through that was abandoned for a while. So they sprayed it with a bunch of like weird stuff to make sure it didn't burn like right away, because that shit would just go up like quick. It's been sitting around in the California heat forever in the sun. So yeah, they had to like spray a bunch of stuff on there so it didn't go down really fast. During the closing credits, Riggs and Murtaugh drive up to an old hotel where another bomb has been placed. Before their doubles connects to the car, the bomb explodes and destroys the building. The hotel was actually the former Sereno Hotel in downtown St. Petersburg, Florida. The film's producers agreed to help with the cost of a 60-year-old building implosion for the purposes of the film. So when I read this, I was like, where is this in the movie? Because I don't remember them driving up to any blown up buildings.
It said in the end credits.
Yeah, but I've seen the credits. Apparently I missed this somewhere. I don't know. The hockey game. So the LA Kings let them do this, but they had to shoot at weird times. They only shoot at part of the game. So I guess when Riggs is on the ice to get gets and things going on there, it had to be done at a whole different time. I guess one of the hockey players, the goaltender, kept getting irritated about the blinding lights. I guess they kept moving lights around, and he eventually like threw a fit during filming.
Jeez.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool. They let them actually during a game do some of those scenes, which was pretty cool. And if I'm ever going to get a dum-dum wound, I definitely want to have it at a hockey game because I feel like that's the best place to get it. Do you have any tidbits, any info, any insights to this?
Well, I mean, you didn't mention that this whole movie, Murtaugh's grappling with the idea of retirement.
I didn't get there yet.
Well, fuck me then.
Well, no, I was doing trivia, not the whole plot. I was just going trivia. So yeah, fuck me then. Okay. what really is, we didn't really go into the plot of what this movie or who's grappling with what. I mean, we talked about Jack Travis's stealing weapons, but like, what's going on with Murtaugh? Why don't you cue the listeners and what's going on with Murtaugh in this? Because this is got some boys to men going on in this one.
Murtaugh is getting too old for this shit.
Still,
as he has mentioned maybe once or twice before. And in this movie, he's finally grappling with the idea of retirement, getting out of it altogether. What's he going to do next? Future of his family. And we really get to see the relationship between him and Riggs like really evolve and change with the realization that things could change.
Well, and he gets to deal with his son Nick a little bit more. Nick gets a little bit of highlights here in an unfortunate way. So, you know, around this time, you know, NWA, you know, Ice Cube, and like everything's like, you know, really popping off for gangster rap, if I remember correctly, as a small child. Like it was really big. So I thought it was cool they included that into the theme of this movie, you know, with the street violence in LA. You know, you had some boys to men at the funeral, you know, some people with the lowrider cars, and, you know, I'm surprised somebody didn't pour on an E40 or something, you know.
Yeah.
Colt 45, you know.
Yeah.
Zigzags, you know, it doesn't matter. But it was cool that because each movie like kind of deals with what was actually going on. And I appreciate that they take the presence of what the world was, they put it into the story. And because of the street violence and what happens to Nick's friend, it gives Roger that, you know, he's went this whole career and he's killed plenty of people.
Right.
But like, he's never shot a little kid before. Not really. The kid wasn't a little kid, as Riggs tells me. That wasn't a little kid, man. That dude would have killed you, would have killed me, would have killed everybody. It doesn't matter. He would have drilled you, would have drilled me, you know, and to see, you don't ever really get to see Riggs have to be the responsible one, to be the sober one.
The voice of reason.
Yeah, where Murtaugh's, you know, he's just drinking and just off his rocker on his boat. And it was a touching scene.
Oh, yeah. Until
he thinks he slept with his daughter.
Yeah, and then there's that.
Yeah. Sergeant Cole from Traffic? No, that's her dad, man.
Oh, jeez.
Did you like the inclusion of Lauren Cole in this?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought it was a great addition.
Have you seen the Thomas Crown Affair? I think she was in that with Pierce Brosnan.
Nah.
I'm getting squeezed more movies in, man.
I did too. I know.
I mean, this one here is it's definitely got a lot more comedy. They use a kazoo a few times in the score. That kind of bugged me a little bit when Leo Getz is around. He like dyes his hair a little bit. He's being a realtor. He's trying to sell the house. He's like, there's a scene where he's trying to disclose everything that's happened. And or no, that's part 4. I apologize.
They're kind of trying to funny it up, and
yeah, a little bit too much. I feel like
it did lose some of its initial charm, like from 1 and 2, by adding too many one-liners, adding too much, you know, passive humor. Like
it was a bit far. I don't like it as much as part 1 and part 2.
Now, do you think that they tweaked it and adjusted it this way because of how Die Hard was doing it? With a lot more of the one-liners, a lot more of the sarcasm?
I don't think so.
Because, I mean, they were kind of, well, they were running at the same time.
Yeah, like one goes and then the other one goes. But if you look at the ones like around the time when we get to Die Hard, I don't think Die Hard 3 is the same tone as Lethal Weapon 3. I mean, there's some jokes, but it's definitely a lot more serious than this one.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously, you know, one's WB, one's Fox. They could definitely been competing with each other. They were, as far as I understand, the two big action franchises at the time. You know, and they're coming off the bench. Like, let's get some fresh ideas here. And it's cool. So now you got a bad cop instead of like some foreign guy or some crazy military guy. Now you got a cop that's bad.
Yep.
This one seemed more streetwise than it was some big international thing. I think they were trying to keep it smaller, even though there were some pretty big action things in here.
He wasn't technically a cop at that time, though. He was a former LAPD.
Yeah, disgraced.
Yeah.
Disgraced cop. But even so, like, there's a scene where Riggs and Cole go into the house and they're trying to find where the bad dudes are at, and there's a Rottweiler that shows up, and like Riggs is upside down and making funny voices at the dog, you know, and like puts a biscuit in his mouth. He's been chewing on biscuits because he's trying to smoke cigarettes or stop smoking cigarettes. And I'll shit you not, when I was younger, my mom would joke like, "Why are you eating dog biscuits?" I was eating dog biscuits because I thought because Riggs was cool enough to do it, I could do it.
Oh,
so no. I'm sitting there like 13 years old chewing on a dog biscuit because I think it's cool as shit. You know, it's just from a movie. Right, these movies impacted me. They really did. They were just watch them over and over and over. But it was that silliness that kind of did take away from the seriousness of it. where you don't like, are they really gonna die? Like, are these people really gonna kill him? Like when he's fighting Joshua, you're like, dude, he could lose. You know, when Arjun shoots him like 6 times, he could die. Like this, you know, when Harrison's music, you know, starts coming on, you're like, oh, the chill down. And for years, I thought that was Tom Petty. I did. Like, I was like, and I'm a huge Tom Petty fan. I don't know why so many years was wrong, but they all were on the Trevor and Wilburys together, and they all sound similar, so it's okay. But yeah, this movie is it's still a great movie, and it is rewatchable, but it's definitely not at the caliber of the first two, in my opinion, at all. Do you concur with that?
I do. You
do.
I mean, as much as I like Joe Pesci, I feel like bringing him in as the comic relief, and
he was in there way more.
Well, he was pretty much just brought in as like an exposition dump. Like, hey, we need more information. Well, here's Joe Pesci.
Yeah. There's a scene where like Riggs goes off the freeway with the motorcycle and he's hanging and he falls down. Well, then like Leo just shows up. Like, how did he said he got there because he knew the police scanner, but like, how did he get through traffic and everything, get there? It didn't make a lot of sense, but it was funny how he's like, well, I'm just going to follow you. And they shoot his one tire. He's like, well, I have a spare. So they shoot his other tire.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like that was still funny, but there's a little bit of forced comedy in there. This one's kind of not a hate love, but a kind of like meh love at times.
Yeah.
But I won't throw it out. I'll still watch it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we finally get to see Riggs, I guess you could say, find his own love interest.
Him and Cole, like they hit it off. Their relationship reminds me and Emily, like the first date. You know, we got together, like that was it. Signed, sealed, delivered. Like we're together. You know, we're about to hit 8 years, man. Yeah. So when you see Riggs and like they make the jokes to each other, like, you're stupid, and then, you know, I'm not a fan of the Three Stooges, but it was cool that they brought up stuff like that they were both, you know, into, because you got to have common ground and everything. They're showing each other their wounds and, you know, the road rash and the stab wounds and all that, and then they, you know, trying to make babies. You know, and then the dog like rolls over because it doesn't want to watch them. Like that's
oh jeez.
Yeah, like it's cool though because like she's somebody that can match him. She's not the opposite. She does, and she's a little bit nuts too, you know. But it makes sense. Like their passion matches each other's passion, and I really enjoy that. I didn't care much for it as a kid. Like her coming in there, I was like, oh no, I want Riggs to stay crazy. And then me and my buddy Ron used to say, well, you know how they could bring this stuff back? Like a part 5, they need to kill her. Like just kill her, man.
Oh, jeez.
And then he'd really go nuts again, you know. But now it's been so long that, you know, we'll get to that section here in a little bit. So before we move on to Lethal Weapon 4, what do you give Lethal Weapon 3? What's your rating on that?
I would have to give it probably a 6.5 or a 7. Because while I enjoyed it, there was definitely some shaky parts that I just, like I said, it didn't feel. I mean, I know that they're changing with the time, but I don't know. I just couldn't get fully behind some of the over exaggerated comedy on it.
Gotcha. I give it generally an 8, but some days I might give it a 7. It all depends. You know, I was pretty excited to rewatch the series. Maybe that's why I wrote down 8, but I think generally 7.5 or 8, because I still think it's a really good movie. It's just doesn't match up to the other ones.
In fact, I might even watch it again soon.
I hope you do. Yeah, I really hope you do. So let's jump ahead a couple years. When did the next one come out? Lethal Weapon 4.
1998. Lethal Weapon 4 came out.
Who directed it?
Donner.
Dahmer or Donner?
Dahmer. Fuck, I don't know his name.
Richard Donner comes back again. He ends up getting a box office total of 140 mil. IMDb 6.6. Rotten Tomato 52%.
Not amazing.
Yeah, no.
A little above average, but not amazing.
What's the plot of this one?
Well, Riggs and Murtaugh are now dealing with a Chinese crime syndicate led by, I'm going to butcher this, but Hua Sing-ku. Played by Jet Li, which I believe, if I remember reading, when I was reading about this, that was one of the first villains Jet Li ever played. The syndicate's involved in human trafficking and counterfeiting. Riggs and Murtaugh, along with Leo Getz and Lorna Cole, work together to bring down the criminal operation. Riggs also faces personal changes as he prepares to become a father.
I thought you were going to say man and he was going through puberty, but, you know, I guess you need to go through that before you become a father. Faja.
And he gets a haircut.
Yeah, he does. Man, they had to cut his hair. That sucks. Did you mention Chris Rock as Lee Butters?
No, I did not.
Yeah, Chris Rock did Jet Li as Hua Sing-ku. Kim Chan is Uncle Benny. Oh, man, that dentist scene. Oh, man. The Newcomer Murtaughs are back. Eddie Ko is Hong. Jack Keller as State Department official. And Kelvin Jung is Defective Ng. It's NG, like the nth metal in comic books. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't give him more letters in his last name. Maybe that's how it goes. I don't know.
They had to pay by the letter.
Yeah. Did you know this was Jet Li's first American-produced movie, and it was the first time he's played a villain? Yeah, it was the first time.
I said that.
Did you? You said it was his first one, but did you say the villain part?
I said I believe it was the first time he played a villain.
Oh.
But I didn't know it was...
A lot of times you talk, I don't listen.
I didn't know it was officially the first time.
Yeah, the official time. You know, Jackie Chan was considered, but Jackie Chan said, I don't play villains. I don't play the bad guy. Yeah, so he turned it down. There was a big old car chase between Riggs and a Chinese dude on a house trailer, kind of like they make down here in town. And it's filmed on the I-215 in Las Vegas, Nevada. Apparently, they couldn't get permission to film it anywhere else, but the Las Vegas mayor said, yeah, we'll do that. And all the drivers were stunt drivers or members of Bill Young's driving team. So like the whole entire crew got to do that instead of just like random people, apparently. I always thought it would probably be one crew, but maybe that's not how it works. But yeah, so like whoever else they tried to do it, like, no, but Vegas is like, dude, it's Vegas, baby. Let's do this. We don't care. Let's get some exposure out here. We need more people to show up to our town. It's a dying town. Nobody ever comes here anymore.
Yeah, something like that.
I have one friend that goes to Vegas like twice a year.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, how do you do that, man? Like, where are you getting your money from? Dude?
I went once with my brother. We went out to a convention, and it's amazing. It's impressive. I don't know. I need to go again.
Yeah, well, we went over in one of our very, very early, badly audio recorded episodes about how I love Star Trek, and I got to go to the Star Trek experience. When I was in high school, my grandmother took me before they shut it down. I'm not a betting guy. I'm not a gambling guy, so that didn't really matter, and I couldn't have anyway because I was too young. But it was before shortly after they'd put up the light show deal over the one certain street.
Okay,
you can see like the planes go, and they do like a whole spectacle thing. It was a cool town. I mean, it was different. I mean, I lived in Phoenix at the time, so like kind of understood what a big city like that was. I never knew it when I lived out east here, but it's a cool place, I guess. I don't know if they used it well in those zombie movies, but yeah.
That's a big no.
Yeah. One of the original scripts for the film was called Simon Says, which eventually was made into another movie. Do you know what that movie was?
Yeah, Die Hard 3.
Die Hard 3, that is correct. Ding, 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 ding. Let's get him a gold sticker. Shit, I'm out. God damn, I was going to get more, too. The characters of Leo Getz and Lee Butters were not in the original scripts. Joe Pesci was hired and paid $1 million for 3 weeks of work, forcing rewrites. Gibson was 3/4 through his newest draft when Chris Rock was hired, which caused yet another rewrite. Butters was originally written to be a homosexual detective, which is why they make the jokes throughout the movie. It was a different time back in 1998. When they started filming the police station scene between Riggs and Murtaugh and Leo Butters, everyone felt that the character, it just didn't work that way. So he was changed to Rian husband, which I have some notes on, and the father of our unborn child. The two only share one scene in the final film with no written dialogue due to last-minute changes. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense why I have issues with it. Yeah, I don't have a lot behind info on this. You know, I kind of really dug to try to find a lot about this, but...
It was just perfect, that's why.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad movie. I do enjoy it. What do you give this movie out of 10?
Ooh,
I wrote down 8, but I'm going to change it to a 7.
Generously, I was going to say a 6.5.
Yeah.
I did not really care for this one as much. Whenever your main actors are getting older and they obviously can't do quite as much, you're going to rely a lot more on comedy or special effects. And
well, I'll say this though about them getting older. So Danny Glover, he gets down to his skivvies there to do the chicken thing when the rain's going on to distract the dude. He was still in pretty good shape. He looks like he is. He's in the very little trivia from when the first movie. So. He's running. He's supposed to be injured after being attacked by McAllister and all them. He's supposed to be injured. He's limping along, and Riggs is running.
Is that when he's limping into the alley? And
a little bit before that,
okay,
when they were out of the club. And the director Donner's like, "Hey, man, are you good? Can you do this again?" I guess Danny Glover was offended that he thought he was like out of wind or something, because he's supposed to be acting like he was injured. So he went and ran around the block. And came back and then said, "Yo, man, like I'm perfectly good. Let's do the scene. Or do you want me to run a couple more times?"
Oh, wow.
I guess he was like super offended. Like Danny Glover, even in this one, like he still looked pretty good for like, I don't know how old he was in this movie, like actually old.
Well, it's funny.
I think he's supposed to be playing like mid-50s, but like.
But Danny Glover's not someone you think of when you think of like a ripped actor or a like really well in shape actor. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but like I've never thought of him as the athletic or like ready to go type.
Well,
He's always been that fatherly type.
I always either think of Murtaugh or the Gone Fishing movie, the comedy that he was in, where he plays like a super old, goofy guy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Which I did rewatch it, and it's not as funny as the first time. I remember watching it as a kid, and I was dying on the floor, and nobody understood why I thought it was so funny. But yeah, I don't have, like I said, a lot of behind the scenes. So I guess we can talk about some of the things that we like and don't like here. And so I already touched on it. Chris Rock, you know, them changing his character constantly throughout it. He's a last minute deal. I don't buy Rihanna dating Chris Rock. Now,
Aren't they secretly married?
Yeah, they're secretly married here. Man, if they would have, Chris Rock is in this movie, he's super skinny, he's kind of gangly looking. He's early in his acting career here. Now, he'd already been doing stand up. I think he might have done the Kevin Smith Dogma movie at this point, maybe. Is somewhere around this time. But I don't think he's like that great. Like, he's not Fargo, like season 4 or season 3, whatever he was in. Like, he's not there yet. And I think he's a good actor now, but he's just, there's a couple scenes in here I'm like, man, he's just not a really good addition. And it's not a really knock it. Like, Chris Rock, dude, he kills me. Like, you can't sew a chicken wing and a thigh together, Dad. Like, you can't. His stand-up was crazy back in the day, but for this movie, just doesn't really. And Leo Getz is really even more in this movie. And Joe Pesci in Casino is great. Joe Pesci in so many things is amazing. Goodfellas. And I don't even like mobster movies that well, but he's just a fucking awesome actor. But Leo Getz gets annoying as shit in this movie. Like, a lot. He just over and over.
Yeah.
And I know they use him in that way because they know he's annoying. You know, like even Riggs and Murtaugh. Like, there's a scene where he's like talking to Butters about cell phones. They fuck you with the cell phones. They fuck you with the cell phones. And then Riggs calls him next to him at the desk. And he's like joking with him. And he goes, at the end of the conversation, he's like, would you just shut the fuck up? Like, I feel like when you watch that scene,
was he acting?
Like, Riggs, I mean, Mel Gibson looks genuinely annoyed. Like, maybe I don't know how many times they might have done that take. I have no idea, but he looked like he really wanted him to just shut the fuck up. Maybe even both of them. Because it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And it's just too much chaos. They bring a lot of chaos to this movie, and it's not like a good action chaos where things are just exploding and it's fun. It's just like a lot of yelling but there's a lot of good things in this movie too. I'm not going to bash on this one completely. There's a lot of family elements, you know, brought in here. I don't know if it was done. This is the first time in the series where Glover's acting to me was a little bit off, where he's trying to play off of Ping's grandfather and they're talking about their kids and time. And so Murtaugh has this watch from his dad, like forever. His entire life he's had this watch from his dad. Like, it's the super most important thing. So he has like one conversation with this old Asian dude, and he's just like, you know what? You deserve my watch. Here, take it back. Like, you can just have my watch. Like, it's fine. It's cool. I mean, he gets it back because he gets killed. He was like, I found my watch.
Right.
Like, when he's like, oh, what's going on? He's like, I found my watch. Why don't you be like, oh, I found the Hong's dead?
Well, yeah, it just felt like completely out of character.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, yeah, we're talking about, you touched on it earlier about the evolution of the characters. Now you have Riggs. He's going to be a daddy.
Yep.
I mean, you find it at the beginning of the movie, one's going to be a grandfather, one's going to be a dad. So they have to walk this tightrope of like, man, should we really be doing what we're doing right now? Like, we could get killed. That could affect everything. It's not just this balls to the walls, who cares anymore thing. We're going to do what we want. Now, like, you got to be responsible. And like, Riggs fakes an injury. I thought that was a bit out of character when he's fake, you know, when they're sparring in the deal there.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, you owe me a rematch. He's like, oh man, you could have. He's like, no, dude, like, I couldn't. I was out of gas. I had nothing left. He's like, I'm getting too old for this shit. But it's only a couple years since the previous movies. So maybe finally his injuries are finally coming to catch to him.
Well, and the question is how much time passed in the cinematic universe versus in our real time movie.
I think it was only like 3 years or something. It seemed like 3 or 4 years. Long enough to get a haircut, but that can happen whenever.
We get to the climax, and just like the first movie, we get to see, you know, the big fight with the villain.
But this one's good, though. This is a good...
Well, you didn't like the water from the fire hydrant?
No, I did, because he's going to like get drowned. And the father's like, no.
I did like, I didn't mention this, but I did like in the first one when Danny Glover flat out tells the police that show up, like, no, let them go. I take full responsibility for what happened.
Even the one he's like, watch commander's on the way. Tell them Sergeant Murtaugh is in charge.
Yeah.
He's like, that motherfucker just killed 2 of our men, blah, 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 you know? And he's just, and I like in the first movie that he was just chilling. And he's like, just turns on the sirens and the lights that just flips on the chair. He's like, he's And he's like, oh, he just shoots him, just like dead. Like Joshua didn't even care, man. Just blow done.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, Jet Li, the stuff he does in this movie, like he's Jet Li before people here knew who Jet Li was, man. This is before The One and those other crazy good movies.
I was just gonna say that the One movie, like he was just, I think
he was the one
that showcased what he can do as well.
Jet Li's a beast, man.
As an athletic actor and a very, very well trained martial artist,
his character's so cool, like and calm. Like doesn't really super get excited until the very, very end. He kills the other who you think is the dude that beats the hell out of Riggs at the beginning. Gets just wiped out by Jet Li so quick. At the end, they stick the rebar through him. Right. Riggs is on one side, Murtaugh's on the other. They got him there. He's flipping around. He's still beating the shit out of him. He's got rebar stuck in his gut. Like Jet Li's just crazy good in here, man. But not as good as the first two. Not as good as the third one. And this leads us to the possibility of Lethal Weapon 5. Richard Donner, before he passed, had conversations with Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson said on stage, he was doing like a Q&A, that he did promise Richard Donner that he was going to do part 5. He's got to get some other Passion of the Christ out of the way. I guess he's got 2 more of those on deck. So I guess he's going to, pull like an Avatar and just keep those going on forever. I actually like Passion of the Christ. I thought it was a well-made movie. Maybe a little bit better than Apocalypto. Maybe because Apocalypto, I had to read a lot. A lot of subtitles and things.
Yeah, I didn't like that one as much.
Yeah, a lot of brutality, just straight brutality. It's like, is this an Eli Roth movie or is this a Mel Gibson movie? You know what was going on. Do you want there to be a part 5? I think there needs, like before you even say anything, I think they need to have a part 5 because they need to pick up the torch and give it a very good. Now, I like the ending of part 4. They're all in the hospital and the kids are born and everything, and they take the big picture. It's a good family thing. But I think there's enough juice there to give it one big hurrah. And I hope it happens. How do you feel about it?
I don't know.
Do you think it would besmirch the legacy? Or
my issue is, we'll go back and look at, or wait 2 weeks and listen to it, Die Hard. When they made that extra movie, the main actor's already well into his, I think Bruce Willis was like 58, 60, something like that when they made it. Like,
we got a lot of notes when we get to that part.
Yeah, we do. But I'm afraid, I don't want it to taint it. Like, I feel like the way it is right now is great. If they go back to more of the serious aspect and get away, if
it's not so comedic, if they're going to do another comedy, then
sure,
no.
Bring Joe Pesci in, let him have a cameo or a few lines. Don't make him a main focal point this time.
Agreed.
Give them that original grit feeling.
So you got to make something so tragic happen to one of these characters, or something that is going to put somebody in like absolute peril for it to be serious. Not just some routine drug buster, some smuggler. Right. Like, you got to have something with some serious stakes on the table. I used to joke with my friends, back in the day, like, how would you even get like these 2 series to come together? And I always had this idea to get Lorna Cole and get John McClane's wife. This is before some of the other movies happened and the divorce thing, whatever. But have them, they're both couples are on vacation. The women end up being at like this big mall somewhere, maybe the Mall of America. I don't know. Terrorists or somebody, like, so the point, Riggs and McClane would have to go together, one an LA cop, one a New York cop. So put them in Chicago or Detroit or someplace like completely different, not in either of the turfs. And I thought that would have been cool.
I almost feel like if they're going to do it, they're not going to have them as buddy anymore. There's going to be something off camera or off, in this massive span between the last movie and now, that like maybe it drove them apart. Like maybe we find out that Riggs really did sleep with his daughter, and they have to come together for, I don't know, say a character from the first movie's brother comes back.
Well, let's think about this. Is there anybody from, if they say that Stu Macher can come back in the next Scream, possibly, do we know 100% that Mr. Joshua is dead? Like, maybe he was just mortally injured and maybe he's been rotting away in prison. I
mean, he took a few gunshots, but no, we don't know for sure.
I mean, maybe there's
could you imagine Gary Busey coming back?
Oh, that would be nuts, though. That'd be crazy.
He is not all there anymore.
Would they go a Rocky route and have like the son of Ivan Drago? So now we have the son of Mr. Joshua or something. You know what I mean? But I mean, at this point too, how old is Riggs' kid?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking probably 20s.
Yeah, and Rianne's kid, maybe they both join the force. Maybe something really bad happens and they gotta, like, they're not cops anymore. They don't have the pull to do things, so they gotta go rogue and they gotta go save their grandkids / kids. I don't know. Like, it's something family, because these movies are always about the family stakes of it all, right?
It definitely focuses on the family dynamic of loyalty and respect, and even the partnership. Same idea. I mean, when you're a partner, you're essentially family with that person. Like, you 100% rely on them. So yeah, something major has to happen if they're going to make a 5th movie to actually give it the stakes it deserves.
I think the 2 kids join the force somehow, even though they're like, you probably shouldn't join the force, and something happens to where Captain Murphy gets killed in a big situation, and they get, like, kidnapped by, like, some bad Russians or something. I don't know. Yeah, because let's bring some Russians into part 5 of this one. They get kidnapped and taken to Chernobyl.
Oh man. And the whole time Mel Gibson will say, I'm on vacation.
I'm on vacation. I'm too old for this. I'm on vacation.
Oh
yeah, whatever.
Yippee-ki-yay, I'm on vacation.
Yeah. So are you familiar at all with the TV show?
No, I know they made it. Was it
2 seasons?
I always mess this guy's name up. Not Sean Penn. Not Sean Flannery.
Stifler. Just call him Stifler.
All right, we'll go with Stifler.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't the original guy in the TV show. He doesn't even play Riggs.
I thought he was in the show, though.
He is in the show. So season 1 happens. So you got Clayne Crawford. I'm sorry, not Chance Crawford. I think he's the dude that plays in The Boys. He plays the Aquaman guy. Clayne Crawford plays Martin Riggs. Damon Wayans plays Roger Murtaugh, and you have Sean William Scott comes in season 2. But you also have Jordana Brewster that plays the Cahill, the counselor. So you have a guy. It's loosely around the same. So Crawford plays Riggs. He's from Texas. Some drug cartel kills his wife, so he ends up getting sent to L.A. for some reason. Joins the LAPD. Gets teamed up with Murtaugh, played by and Damon Wayans kills it as Roger Murtaugh. By the way. I don't know if anybody could ever play Riggs, but I didn't think another guy could actually play the family dynamic. And Trish is more in it, and his kids are in it more. They bring, like, because it's episodic, so you have a lot more to do there. And Crawford was pretty decent as Riggs. He was definitely not as good as Mel Gibson, but he had a lot of off-screen issues, and he got kicked off the show. He got canceled. I don't know really how much he's done anymore, but he got canceled for a minute. I guess he was rude to some women or something behind the camera. Kind of threw some fits, and they're like, "We're done with you." So they brought in Sean William Scott in season 2 as a different
Lethal
guy.
Weapon with Cole and Murtaugh, not Riggs and Murtaugh.
No, it's Riggs and Murtaugh. Sean William Scott comes in season 2 as a completely different character. It's not Riggs.
Yeah, it says here he's Wesley Cole.
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 C-O-L-E.
Pole.
Pool.
Paul.
Cole, like Lorna Cole, like coal in your stocking.
Fool.
Like like a
Pity the fool.
Pity the fool, man. So yeah, I didn't watch season 2.
I mean, so like what I'm looking at, because I haven't seen it. A good old Fox. But the main title screen shows the dude who's playing Murtaugh walking right next to Sean William Scott playing Cole.
How about instead of that, we just call him Wesley?
Okay, that works.
Yeah.
So
it's called Wesley, man.
the shit I put up with.
Gotta flip this table.
So I mean, so Riggs isn't even in it anymore because that character got canceled.
Yeah, I missed part of the finale of him finding out who killed Victoria. I think his wife is actually in Victoria in this one too. But like I said, it was some drug cartel or something. I don't remember exactly how they write him off. I don't know if he dies or what happens, because I think he was fired in between season 1 and 2, if I remember correctly. So I don't think his character dies. They had to find a way to say he wasn't there. But like I said, I didn't watch season 2, so I'm not sure what happened, but that was on. And of course, after he gets replaced, the show goes one more season and it gets done. It's over. They pull it. And Fox is about to get bought out by things anyway. So, it's not, even if they wouldn't have got bought out, I don't think it would have been going on.
All right. Well, now the show got a 7.8 out of 10.
Yeah, the first season was pretty good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. But if you want to talk about something that's super amazing when it comes to Lethal Weapon 5 and 6, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Have you seen them do Lethal Weapon 5 and 6?
No.
Yes. So are you familiar at all with the Sunny in Philadelphia's where they do Lethal Weapons?
No. I've only ever seen the first couple episodes. I liked it. I never really got into that one.
Well,
so they parody it, or?
Well, in the episode D. Reynolds Shaping America's Youth, Mac and Dennis decide they're going to shoot Lethal Weapon 5. They are going to make this movie. And they get Frank to be the villain. He's like, he has this, those cheap necklaces that you can buy next to the gas stations, like they're supposed to be Native American necklaces.
Yeah.
He's like taint the water supply or something. But what's really amazing about this is like midway through the shoot, Mac and Dennis decide to switch roles. So Mac initially plays Murtaugh. So he does blackface. And Dennis is playing an amazing Riggs. Like he even does a scene where he's like tied up from like part 1. And the dude's he's skinny, but he's like in decent shape. And he has the hair and he does the voice, and he does such a great job playing a Mel Gibson Riggs. It's like so good. But halfway through the shoot, they decide we're going to change characters.
Oh my gosh.
And then they come back again, and the gang makes Lethal Weapon 6 is the title of the episode. The first one, Dee wants to be like a substitute teacher or something, or Charlie and Dee. So they bring kids to the bar to watch the video. So there's underage kids in the bar to watch Lethal Weapon 5. Like, it's just balls to the walls crazy. If you guys out there watch the show, it is always sunny in Philadelphia. It is really, except for all that traffic.
I really do need to watch it. It's
so good. And and you could tell, like, it wasn't just, let's just make fun of it. Like a South Park would make fun of something. Like, they take their time and effort to show some respect to it, but yet make it completely ridiculous. And I definitely recommend anybody go and watch those episodes if you want your gut to just explode in laughter.
There's 16 seasons.
Of Sunny? You're damn right there is. The show is amazing, bro. Amazing.
172 episodes. Is it still running?
Yeah.
My word.
Yeah, Mac left, Mac, he didn't leave the show, but, he went and did Mythic. Yeah, he did Mythic Quest and bought the soccer team and all that. And then Glenn Howerton left and did like AP Bio, where he was like a really mean teacher. And he was gone for like part of a season. Then they come back and they bring a sex doll that looks just like him. It's absolutely nuts. It's crazy, but so good. And that's all I got on Lethal Weapon. I mean, I could talk even more at length if you want me to, if anybody wants to listen to my sweet voice talk about Riggs and Murtaugh. Or we could just talk about our overall thoughts on the entire series and how great it is, because it's definitely not bad at all and has no missteps.
None at all, huh?
None.
None. Okay.
Overall,
even overlooking some of the meh parts that I didn't care for totally, I would give all four movies probably I'd go with an 8 out of 10.
Package deal, 8 out of 10. That's
deal.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. I'll go with that.
Even though the third and fourth one were rocky for me, I think the first two were so solid that it definitely makes up for it. And it's not like the first movie was super dark and gritty and the second movie was a full-blown comedy. Like, they eased into that transition. Right. Yes, there were some major character changes, but when you're watching them in sequence like that, it kind of works.
I think it completely works.
Well, and I always felt too.
Okay, partially works.
I mean, I always felt, the last 5 minutes. I always felt too that Riggs going from the super dark, depressed, gritty, gun in my mouth, like I'm done with life, to.
Dude, he almost walks away at that final fight. He does. He's like, he's gonna whoop our ass again. Let's not do this.
Well, I mean, at the end of the fourth movie, he's a whole different person, like you said. You can almost say, well, they changed the character, but you can also say, well.
I think it's just a natural development.
Who he was. He's becoming himself again because he's got a pseudo family. And by the fourth one, he's got a woman. He's got, a kid on the way. Like, it's a character development.
Yeah. People complain that, it's not the Riggs from the beginning, but that's not a complaint. That's fact.
Depressed in every movie.
Should he be suicidal when he's got a wife and a kid on the way? No, definitely not.
That's what I mean. Like, when I got married and when I had a kid on the way, I was pretty damn happy. Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, dear God, what am I going to do with a kid? But I'm a little bit different. I have wanted to be a father.
Oh, you're different, all right.
Well, I've wanted to be a father since I was in, like, middle school. Like, I've always I could not wait to get married and have kids one day.
Fulfilled.
And then I had two, and I'm just like, perfect number. I'm good. I'm so happy here.
But guess what?
Number 3 slipped in, and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna go get my balls cut off.
Snip, snip.
And just for the record, guys, if you're listening, it's not actually that bad. But
no, stop. Spine up, guys. Spine up. That's my new thing.
Buy a bag of peas, frozen peas, because they can form around down there, like the shape to it. Yeah.
On tour.
Just trust me. Just trust me.
Yeah, the world needs to spine up and get over these little
but no
crybabies things.
In all seriousness, I feel like that was good character development on his part by showing that people do change
For
significantly.
the better, mostly, usually.
Depending on your environment, you can change. And I think that's what they do.
True people change their environment.
So what do you think? I know that you're, a kind of a fan of this.
Well, I think if you averaged it out, it would still be like an 8 out of 10. I still stand true that 1 and 2 are some of the best action movies ever fucking made in any genre. I think some of these characters have transcended, the movies. They're part of the zeitgeist in the world, and there's a reason for that. Why these movies are still talked about. Why people are still saying, "Will there be a Lethal Weapon 5?" They didn't go like nobody's like, and whether Bruce Willis would have happened or not, people are like, "Oh my god, when are we gonna get that next Die Hard?" But people are like, legitimately like, "Hey man, are we gonna get that Lethal Weapon 5?" Like there are still big fans of this franchise, and I think it is a viable product that deserves something else. I think as far as buddy cops concerned, I don't know if there would have been really a good Rush Hour without this movie. Yeah, the buddy cops, there's always been Turner and Hooch. Was before this, and it's a dog. With Starsky and Hutch.
I was to say Turner and Hooch was Tom Hanks and the dog.
And a dog, yeah. So I mean, it's not like this was the first buddy thing out there, but it really set the bar for spectacle, but not just spectacle. That first movie isn't just set pieces of shit blown up. Like there's actual drama in there. I'm telling you, you guys don't believe me. Watch, if you've never seen Lethal Weapon 1 before, watch that scene where Riggs is going to kill himself. It is pure emotion.
Look, if you go back to episode 1 of season 1, not episode 0, don't ever listen to that one. Episode 1 of season 1, when we basically gave, hey, here's who we are. That whole topic is very, very touchy with me. Watching that on the screen, it tore my heart out. I completely sympathized.
You're a simp.
I did that word. I completely sympathized with that feeling of just emptiness, and
a good bit of us has been there before, and I feel down in the trenches.
And to see it like that, I mean, like I said before, Mel Gibson, I mean, I feel like he's a real face actor. He knows how to put his soul on his face.
He moves the muscles under his eyes.
Right, he knows how to really scream how his character is feeling without saying a word. It's all in the eyes, it's all in the face. And that scene, man, that's hard. It's hard to watch.
Yeah,
and it's not even anything crazy. It's a very quiet, simple, clean-cut scene, but
I tell you what,
dang.
The big part about that scene is not just him contemplating and doing it, but when he decides he's not going to do it today. When he's done and he takes the gun away, but then he kind of smacks down his forehead. And he's talking to himself. Well, he's not really talking to himself. He's talking to Victoria. Have you ever been? Everybody's probably been in that situation where you're by yourself, you're bawling your eyes out. Maybe you weren't suicidal, but you're just so distraught about something, and then you're talking to the person that is affecting you, and you're trying to get those emotions out, and then you just kind of maybe joke with yourself a little bit. You goes, "Oh, I'm not going to do it today."
Yeah,
it's just it felt so real world. And I felt like I've been there.
Oh yeah.
And if anybody out there feels like they are there, man, get some help. There's definitely numbers out there. We can even on YouTube. Let's put some stuff on there.
I'll put the numbers up on the screen right now. So if you're feeling anything, please reach out to somebody.
Yeah, trust me, there's 7.5 billion people on this world now, man.
Somebody knows what you're going through, I promise.
Yeah, maybe not 100%, but they can be damn close enough, man. Yeah. Yes, get some help. We don't want any of our listeners or any loved people of other loved people to disappear. Nobody needs to disappear. So what do you have for us, Josh? I know you love them outros, man. If somebody wanted to like and subscribe or maybe get on a Patreon or any of that stuff, what would they do?
Real simple. If you're on YouTube, please hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. We've gotten some hate comments. We've gotten some great comments.
I love them all.
It's all constructive criticism to us. It just tells us what we need to change and what we need to do better. Let us know what you think. If you want to reach out to us outside of the YouTube platform, we are on Facebook, Instagram, X, also, formerly known as Twitter.
Tweet.
Shoot us a message. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Let us know what kind of topics you'd like us to cover on a future episode. We're more than happy to...
I will definitely take a suggestion at this point, man. You got to help me out here, people. Help me out.
If you are really enjoying what you hear and you do want to help us out, you can just go to patreon.com/Tree of Geek. sign up $5 a month as a Patreon. It'll help support us. It'll help us get this moving a little more professionally, which, I mean, I think we got a pretty good setup going now.
I think we're hitting our groove.
I do. I really do.
Like Stella, we got our groove back.
No.
We would have had to have groove to lose it to get it back, right?
You threw off my groove.
Is that the Emperor's New Groove?
Yeah. But yeah. $5 a month. It'll grant you access to the Patreon, where instead of finding out what the episode's about the day it drops or the day before, I put up something a week or two ahead of time so you know what's coming. We put up surveys.
Would they get to listen to any of our crazy outtakes? Any of like the hour of stuff you're gonna have to cut out of this episode?
Well, I can promise you not everything, because there's some
you don't want
random
to some of the things
outtakes.
I say, no, but
I'm kind of compiling some outtakes from different episodes, putting something together, a little extra for the Patreon members. You will be able to participate in surveys. What are we going to talk about next? Or, great example, when we did our Crossing Swords episode, you could vote on who you think would have won in the different lineups.
There can be only one.
No, Highlander did not win. However,
how about Jet Li?
Yeah, but there can be only one was Highlander.
I know. I was just saying because he was in the movie.
What if Jet Li is a Highlander?
He is a Highlander.
Ooh.
I have no idea. That'd be crazy, though.
Anyways, you'll also receive a shout out every episode. So a big shout out to John. Thank you so much for being our very first.
Going on vacation with John soon.
Well, good luck with that. Make sure he takes his Darth Vader mask.
I just got back from vacation with John.
Must be nice. No, thank you for being our first Patreon member. I mean, we know that you support us. You've been on the show a few times. We love you, buddy. And a big thank you to Unconfined You. That's his username, for being our first paid Patreon subscriber.
Appreciate it, man.
Really appreciate your faith in us, believing that what we're doing can actually become something. And really, thank you.
Thank you to everyone who's got those earbuds in right now, who's sneaking this at work right now, who's jamming it in their car, their work truck, whatever it may be. They're on their Peloton, killing themselves listening to our podcast, or maybe they're sitting down eating some Cheetos, whatever it may be. Thank you very much for listening. We so greatly appreciate it. And we're going to catch you very, very soon for Christmas in July part 2.
In 2 weeks.
That's soon, man.
In 2 weeks.
2 weeks I'm on vacation, so that doesn't make any sense.
Well, in 2 weeks, the episode will drop. Christmas in July part 2 with Die Hard. That we'll be recording in, about 3 minutes.
Yeah, well, after I wet my whistle, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, from the Tree of Geek, ladies and gentlemen, this is Josh saying, take care, everybody.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we? It's at the end of Lethal Weapon 4 when they do the credits.
Just say goodbye.
Goodbye.